Welcome everybody back to Friar Talk. We are going live today. Obviously, Chase and I are Niners fans, so we're pretty pumped on NFL stuff. But also, there's been some Padres news, some international signings. We've been back to getting off of the series and posting about different scenarios. Ton of offseason trade hypotheticals have been brought up too. So down to really go whatever you guys want to today. But I guess we can start with the football game just because I think that's fresh on everyone's mind. Chase, you wanna talk a little bit about how you're feeling last night with the insane Niners win?
Yeah, honestly, I was like, well, we can't score a touchdown to save our lives. And then, like, just randomly, punt. I'm like, okay, cool. You know what? They're deep in their own territory. We can get it back around midfield. And I see the guy get bullied for a blocked punt, and then Hufunga just scoop it up for the score. And I was like, you know what? Now we got ourselves a ball game. Just hopefully we can get within either field goal or score an actual touchdown and leave not too much time on the clock. And you know what? It happened. I'm surprised. I was scared about Robbie Gould kicking the ball. I'm not gonna lie. And that freezing temperature, I was like, well, I really wish we got a little bit closer, but prayers up on this one. And when I saw it go through the bar I was at, apparently there's a ton of 49ers fans here. Didn't know that. The whole bar was cheering, going crazy, and there's like that one guy in an Aaron Rodgers jersey just that was great.
Yeah. Oh, go for it, Matt.
Oh, I know you didn't watch. I know you saw the highlights.
I wasn't able to watch the game. I I fell asleep and then I started, I went to the store, did my stuff, but yeah, I wasn't really able to watch the game. I just know that there was only one offensive touchdown scored on the first drive. I mean, for those that continue to count wins as a quarterback stat, you saw last night, wins is not a quarterback stat. I think it's important. It's detrimental to a quarterback, to their legacy. But the Chargers had Phillip Rivers for many years, didn't win very much. They had Justin Herbert this year. They didn't make the playoffs. The Chargers at one point had the number one offense, the number one defense, and the 32nd ranked special teams, and didn't make the playoffs because of the special teams. Stop counting wins as a quarterback stat, man. I mean, Jimmy G just made it last night, and I only watched the highlights, but that was horrible. I really couldn't believe. Yeah, he literally did nothing.
Do you want to know an amazing stat?
What was it? Yeah, go for it.
So this is kind of a diss to Aaron Rodgers, but since 2017, Blake Bortles has more playoff wins than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, does anyone remember the playoffs that was Tom Brady, Nick Foles, Blake Bortles, and Case Keenum?
You saw that picture, huh?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Those four were quarterbacks in NFC and AFC championship games. But people are still going to continue to call it a quarterback stat when, I mean, I think it's ridiculous. There's two sides of the ball. There's 11 positions on each side of the ball. And clearly special teams blew it. Not for the Niners. Special teams was their savior. So,
dude, it's so funny too because the Niners special teams has been horrible, has been absolutely atrocious all year, and they win this game solely because they blocked 2 punts. Yep. It was also like the greatest game in terms of how it was just like, oh, Kittle drops the ball, then he makes a one-handed catch on the sideline. Oh, Jimmy Ward gets beat for 80 yards in coverage, then he blocks a punt. And it's just like over and over and over. So, yeah. All right, guys. I know most of you guys are not Niners fans, so we'll move on from that. But Greg, has anyone heard about Clevenger has been throwing lately? There was a few videos that surfaced. He was throwing gas. I don't know about his like off-speed stuff, but I don't know. Isaac, that's kind of your guy. You want to get into him a little bit?
I haven't seen much on him lately. The only things I've seen, obviously, we all saw him. For anyone who has Twitter, you probably saw him throwing at Petco. I think it was before the lockdown, not the lockout. I think that's the last thing I saw of him. I think maybe another time I saw was when he was throwing like some sort of backyard. I'm not entirely sure what it was, but I mean, it looked like he was throwing pretty hard. So I think I sent a video. It said, "Did you guys hear that glove?" And it was, I mean, of course, it was in an empty stadium, so it's going to sound even louder, but it sounded really loud. Yeah, I mean, haven't seen much on him throwing lately, but we're not going to get a lot of news as of right now because of the lockout.
Yeah, unfortunately, but yeah, the few videos that have surfaced, man, sounds like he's got his velocity way back up, and it sounds great.
What do you think about full speed? I feel like we've talked about it a little bit. We think that Chase, you talked about this a little bit. Before. I don't think we talked about it in the show, but we were talking about doing a segment on maybe guys being openers. You said that you thought that Clev should have openers start the year. Probably, is that more Hone?
Absolutely. Probably either like, oh my god, now I'm blanking on Chris Matt, or depending on Paddock's health, if he makes it into the rotation, like one of those two. I'd probably keep Hone away from an opener at the beginning of the year, just because he's in the same situation. Both of them are coming back off Tommy John. Having Hone throw multiple innings at the beginning of the season kind of seems a little scary. Depending on when the beginning of the season is, of course, that plays into it. When is spring training going to be? I guess we'll find out more on Monday, but I honestly have no hopes for the meetings because two sides are so far apart that they just meet for 10 minutes. Okay, cool. We're not on the same track. We'll meet again in 2-3 weeks. So I guess we'll find out more on Monday, but depending on when spring training may be, I think Clev will be fine. He might be full speed if it ends up being in like March.
Yeah, for anyone who watches Marty Caswell, she interviewed Mike Clevenger, and Mike said that, with this being his second Tommy John, he's doing better because he now fully knows the routine. He now fully knows how to process the injury and how to rehab through the injury faster than he did the first time. And with that knowledge, he's been able to use that to his advantage to be able to, just recover faster, try and get back his velocity faster, his just everything in terms of a pitcher. But I don't know if he'll be full speed. I don't think he should be full speed. I think, you get him some innings in April, you get him 3-4 innings to start. If you can push 5, I guess that's fine too. Come May and June, though, I think we should start ramping him up if the season starts on time.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the case. I'm pretty pumped for Clev, though. And Jasona said down here, there was just a write-up on him, and he bought a $2 million house in San Diego. I hope that means he wants to stay for a while. Obviously, going to be a free agent too. So this year is going to be really big to kind of determine if he has a future in San Diego. I think how he looks. I think getting him back slowly, you want him to be at full strength at the end of the season. So I like the idea of adding an opener. I feel like you were saying, Chase, it's probably smart to not have Hone be the opener just because he's also coming back and he's probably only throw one inning at a time. I think Nabil to Clev would be kind of nasty because Nabil's like all off speed and then Clev would just be going up there throwing a straight gas. So I kind of like that combination. But it'll be really interesting to see how he ends up playing this year. But if he's at full strength, you have to assume that he's also a guy that the Padres would like to extend, him and Musgrove. I mean, that would be really, really big to hang on to those guys. And also, you look at Ruben Niebla, he's there. So does that mean that that's like kind of an extra incentive of like, hey, we're investing in a guy like Mike Clevenger. We're going to get the guy that he said was his best pitching coach. Maybe it is, which would be really interesting to see how that all plays out. But I mean, I like what the Padres have kind of done with their staff. And one thing that we are definitely going to talk about too is that the Padres do not need to go get starters. Like that should be probably the last thing on their list right now for what they need, besides like infield, like middle infield. Like outside of that, I don't think I think it's probably last on the list. They have 6 starters right now, and they have like 3 guys in the minors that could be called up at any moment. I get that some of the guys have had some injury history, but you don't want to go into a season putting starters like Nick Martinez or Chris Paddock in AAA because you don't have like space for them. That's not a good idea. However, if a guy goes down, then you go and you make the trade during the season to go get another guy. So I think last year's kind of meltdown. Also, you already went and got an extra arm too. So like last year's meltdown, I think kind of like makes everyone kind of a sour taste in their mouth about the starting rotation. But you got to realize how many guys were not playing last year that are going to be pitching this year. So I think that's going to be huge. Also, let's see. It's been mentioned that the luxury tax threshold will rise. Any idea where that might be? I think it's supposed to be up like what, 30 million, 40 million?
I've seen from 230 million to 240 million is where it should be next year.
Yeah, that would be big.
Huge, definitely. That would kind of, I don't know, man. It'd be big. It'd be something like huge, but those damn Dodgers, they're gonna. They're gonna spend even more money.
Yeah, I've seen anywhere between 220 and 240, so I'm guessing 230 is going to be the middle ground.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
Out of where the Padres are at right now, what would in your opinion, what are the 3 top priorities that they can do overall? So like anything, because I'm seeing here, Devin said Musgrove extension must be a first besides moving Hosmer. So what do you guys think is like the most important things to go down your list? And it might take you a second to think, because I got to think about mine too. Is there a clear one?
Moving Hosmer.
Getting rid of
That's
Hosmer.
one?
That's got to be number 1.
Yeah, I think so. Because you can go get like a right field, like you can go get like a not a great right fielder and go get an extra bat and like move Haas to DH. Worst comes worst though. But like, you also can move Haas, and then your offseason kind of opens up.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Musgrove is probably
getting rid of Haas, signing Suzuki, and then probably either like if you want to go contracts, extending Joe Musgrove. If not, maybe calling up CJ Abrams, depending on how spring training is or when season starts or how he does with whatever they decide to do besides spring training. But I think CJ Abrams is going to be ready this year, and calling him up this year will be a huge boost.
I think going out and acquiring another solid left-handed hitter is something that should be at a priority for the Padres, considering Trent Grisham is very inconsistent. I think, we're all Trent Grisham fans. It's just that there's times where he goes ghost, and there's times where he's the most nobody's going to be more impactful than Tatis and Manny, but one of the most impactful bats in the lineup. So like we've talked about Josh Bell. I don't know how I feel about acquiring Kyle Schwarber, but that's something that could be brought up. There's also the possibility of trading for Matt Olson, who, like, surprisingly, I think he had a higher batting average against lefties than Nick Castellanos did. I mean, that's something worth noting against lefties also. So like he's good against both righties and lefties. And I think that's pretty awesome. It's just that it might take a lot to get him. I don't know what the other thing would be. I want to say something about CJ Abrams, but that's pretty tough. I think number 3 might be getting Mackenzie Gore right.
That's a good one.
But that doesn't really have anything to do with contracts. But I mean, that guy was your number 1 prospect, So I think that's got to be one of the main priorities. It looks like they were making that a priority with the Niebla, getting Niebla, and that's definitely got to be something on top of the list. But if we're talking just signings, people were bringing up Seiya Suzuki. I don't really know though.
So I think for me, I like the one about Mackenzie Gore because I think that's a good one. But like it's kind of like, I don't know, like that and like Abrams is almost like after free agency kind of. But it's kind of that's why it's a tough question, I think. But I would probably do 1, moving Hosmer. 2, I would also do signing Suzuki, because I think signing Suzuki is so big, because then you don't go and break off another guy, and the upside that Suzuki brings is higher than Castellanos, it's higher than Chris Bryant. That's what I believe. Is the floor lower? Yes, but is it lower for Castellanos? I don't know. Because how much money he's gonna make. So I like it way more than Castellanos. I still like the idea of adding Chris Bryant, though. I mean, Chris Bryant's a great player. So that's the one I think it's a little bit tough, but I think it'd be huge to land Suzuki. So I would put him at 2. And then 3, I think probably, I don't know. Maybe extending Musgrove, I'd say. So yeah, that's how I would rock with it. I see people are talking about Onya to potentially come up. I've always thought that he could come up and be a DH. I went and looked up his prospect grades. 45 field, 55 arm. So maybe he could be a right fielder. I don't know how you guys think about that. It feels like it's more likely that he would be a DH, right? Is that where you guys are at?
Yeah.
Onya? Yeah, I think he's a DH.
He best serves as a DH.
He also missed a lot of time with injury, which is tough.
Yes.
I've seen, where was it? I lost one. Susanna, one of the most recent international signings. Basically, Gil said here, so he's basically throwing 100. He's 99 right now, and he'll start in Arizona instead of Dominican Summer League. We talked about this guy. You remember we talked about this guy last year when we did our prospect ranking, and we put him in there because he was expected to be a Padre, but it took a full year until he signed.
Yeah.
But we had him in our list. We had him in our top 30 list. He's a beast.
Yeah, he's 6'6" at 17 years old, and I don't know how much he weighs, but dude throws 99. It's kind of crazy.
At 17.
Mm-hmm.
Chase, do you know a lot of? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Jason, I don't think McKenzie has to stay on the roster I think he does for now. When's that the rule, what is the Rule 5 draft? It's not gonna happen right now, but yeah, we have no clue. But he's gonna be fine. He'll stay. He's basically gonna stay on the roster until then.
Chase, do you know much about Susanna?
I know he has the plus fastball. I think he had a plus slider. And he had a potential, I think, change up that could either grade out to be average or another plus pitch, depends on how he's developed. And I think him starting in Arizona instead of Dominican League is probably smart because you have him, and I think Lange is still in the Arizona League. So if you have those two working together, I think they seem like athletic freaks, both throwing like 100, in their teens. So there's that. And depending on which one develops faster, I think they're going to, or not develops faster, but has better control of their just all three pitches. They're going to be the ones that get promoted quicker. And then it's kind of like, okay, Justin Lane sure has a high ceiling, depending on if he puts it all together. But now that you have Harlan Sasuna, Justin Lane might be used as trade bait because he is such a guy that's not like he throws 100 as a starter. So feel like Harlan Sasuna could mean the disappearance of Justin Lane in the farm system.
Interesting. And how much is Lane a little bit older too? Like 2 years?
Yeah, he's probably a lot older. That's why I kind of like the international signings that we got, because now some of these guys that are already in our system are expendable. And let's say somebody like a Susanna pans out, you're going to get a deal out of him. I mean, I think it's just that American ball players get paid more than somebody like, for example, Ronald Acuna, Ozzy Albies. They got paid, what, like 5 years, $35 million for Ozzy Albies, 6 years, $100 million for
5
Ronald
or was
Acuna.
it 7 years?
I think it was one of those. Yeah, I might be confused. It might be 7, but
it was bad.
Yeah,
it was really bad. I thought that was an absolute steal. I don't know how they got Ozzy to agree to that.
It was highway robbery. So, with that comes a cheaper contract. But yeah, Justin Lange, there will probably be a couple shortstops that become expendable. Jackson Merrill being one of them. He's probably the most expendable now. For anyone who doesn't know,
it was 735, Isaac.
7 for 35. Ooh, even worse. But Justin Lange becomes expendable. Jackson Merrill, he was our first round pick in this past draft.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if they'll hang on to Merrill a little bit though, because obviously you take him in the first round, like you want to develop him, and you could probably raise his value, but maybe his value is already pretty high considering he went in the first. I don't know. It's kind of hard to gauge, I think, on a lot of these guys. Another guy, Kevin Kopps. This is a dude that could definitely be a bullpen piece this year. I don't know if he would start, but he's a lot older than most of the prospects, and he's also had success at a high level. I really like Kevin Kopps. He's pitched in a lot of roles. I believe he started pitching bullpen, pitching like 2-3 inning stints. Like he's done a lot in college, and he's a guy that his thing is he has really good command and control of his pitches, right? Like he is just extremely consistent. Doesn't have like crazy like tools or anything, but he could. I don't know. It seems like he projects as a very solid bullpen piece. So I think for him, like a lot of these guys, you gotta wait till spring to see where they're at. But I would be pumped if he can come into the league this year, and I think that there's a decent chance that he will be able to.
I like Kevin Kopps as an opener.
I think he's just a bullpen piece. That's not a bad thing. It's just I think that's what he's going to project out to be. Irie Fangeek brings this up. I think I've seen it a couple times now. I'm sorry, dude. But you guys don't think the best way to use Mackenzie Gore is towards the end of the year during the bullpen games, get him some starts. It just depends on how how it's going with his development. If he's looking good come June, maybe come July or August is when you bring him up. Of course, so we've mentioned it. We don't know when the season's going to start, but I think it just depends on whenever he looks good. I'm not gonna say, bring him up towards the end. If he's looking good in May, then he's looking good in May, and you want to bring him up as soon as possible, considering that's supposed to be your top that was your top prospect at one point. That's supposed to be, he was the best pitching prospect at one point. So with that talent, you don't want to hold him down, especially if he's on a wave, like he's riding high in the minors. I think you bring someone up at their highest point.
Yeah, and Irie also asked, he says, all I'm saying is we better not have like crap starters like Arrieta or Vince Velasquez. We should have enough backup starters to not have this happen again. I think they do. I think you have Elliott that could come up in a pinch. I think you have Adrian Martinez. Now you have Kevin Kopps. Now you have Nick Martinez. Also, like, you also have Clev back. Like, there's a lot of guys. You have Morhone, who you probably don't want to stretch him out, but later in the year, maybe like a couple times. I don't really want them to, but they could do it. You also got Reese Kinnear. Like, you got a lot of guys. So I don't know if I think it is like you're saying, Isaac, like it is about where Mackenzie Gore's at, because if he's playing better than those other guys, then yeah, you're going to see him come up, which is what we all want to see. Like, that is what everyone wants to see, is him improve and have the chance to get called up. But if he's going to come out here and get rocked, then that's pretty scary. Another one from Irie. I think you'd like this one, Chase. Pierce Johnson.
Yeah. Well, one other thing about the Mackenzie Gore thing, I also think it depends on where the team is at regards with their record by the end of the year. If they're like in a close race for either wild card or the division, I don't know if they'll bring Gore up, even if it's September. And if he gets brought up, I don't know if he's actually going to get used, because those could be pivotal games. If it's like a clear, okay, you're in the wild card no matter what, or you've won the division no matter what, or you're even out of the playoffs no matter what, I think, yeah, you bring up Gore and you get him that MLB experience. But if it's a close race, I think it's hard for him to be brought up over some guys that have had either MLB experience or just have had a better overall season or overall better fit for the role that McGore would be given if he did get brought up towards the end of the year. And yeah, I think Pierce Johnson, he has been getting better and better each year. I thought he was a great signing out there. Hopefully Nick Martinez comes over and has the same degree of success that Pierce Johnson had. I like to see him in like the 7th or 8th inning role. I don't want to see him used as a closer, because I think he walks too many people, unfortunately. But he's a great 7th and 8th inning guy.
Yeah, my guy is Tim Hill. Of course, he's not going to be the best bullpen guy, but regarding Pierce Johnson, of course, he looked really, really solid in 2020. We brought it up, small sample size, but even in 2021, I don't think he looked that bad. There were games where he certainly didn't look good, but games where he definitely looked like the 2020 version of himself. I think he's just a really solid bullpen piece, of course. 6th, 7th inning guy, maybe even in the 8th sometimes, considering he has a high velocity fastball and he can sit down a couple batters. But this bullpen is definitely set up for success again. If you look from top to bottom, I think Morhone, I don't think he'll be back early. I think July should be his expected return. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not. And I also haven't heard many details on it. But I've seen July. I've seen July as a realistic timetable for him. But, there's a lot of good guys coming back. I'm actually glad that Mark Melancon isn't coming back. I wasn't the biggest Mark Melancon fan. Even if he was, numbers showed that he was pretty good, I think his expected ERA was above a 4. So he can thank Manny and Jake for a couple of those plays. But I like Pierce. I like Tim. I think Morhone will be solid. I love Drew Pomeranz, man. I really love Drew Pomeranz. Was it a mistake signing him? Of course, yeah. $10 million for a reliever is absurd, unless it's Josh Hader. Even then, it's kind of expensive. Soon enough, that might become Devin Williams. But $10 million for a guy that's consistently injured, it's just it doesn't look good.
I don't know if you pay a guy $10 million to go sock the wall when he gets mad.
I know, I saw that. That's what I was thinking too. Like, damn, bro, he socked the wall, but that dude's nasty.
I thought it was celebration.
Yeah.
No, that was a different dude.
Both.
I think it was because he's pissed. I don't really remember correctly, but
yeah, I remember seeing a guy do that.
He punched the wall. Yeah.
Got a couple other ones. Can you imagine Java Joe, Blake Snell, Darvish, Clev, and Gore? Dude, if Gore turns it around, that would be sweet. But the big ones there is where Gore and Darvish going to be. Darvish just kind of feels like kind of on the back, deep on the back nine. Gore isn't quite ready. So if you get an overlap year, though, if this is playoff level and all these guys are clicking, you're really dangerous. Really, really dangerous. Also, this one. And so I like this because when you look at all these, you have to really like count in like, okay, what do these guys cost? And for cost wise, I think Matt Olson is way more expensive. Josh Bell is kind of middle tier, and Luke Voigt probably isn't too much. The other thing, are these guys actually going to be on the table? Like, are they actually going to be want to trade them? Because we've talked about Josh Bell as a team, like the Nationals, they don't really they don't really need him, right? They're going to move him. I forgot who it was. This guy in our comments said basically, dude, there's no chance that they're going to trade him. And his thought wasn't that, they're just going to hold him and let him become a free agent, but that they're going to get his value up a little bit higher because last year he started out super slow and really turned it around and have those numbers increases. And we've talked about it. We all think he improved a lot in fielding. So his WAR is probably going to be a lot higher than it was the last few years for Josh Bell. And he thinks that that the Nationals are going to sell him high at the deadline. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of legitimacy to that. So
absolutely,
we'll see. But I still think that he's middle tier if he's available. Maybe Luke Voigt's not available. Maybe Matt Olson isn't available. But who's the most likely guy that you see the Padres landing?
Matt Olson. I mean, yeah. I just think, there is a lot of legitimacy to what that guy said. Like, they don't really have a reason to get rid of him right now. They can wait till the deadline, and you will be banking on him still performing good at the deadline, and so you can acquire some top prospects, but it's a risk that I don't think that like they don't have. They won't lose anything in taking that risk. Like, they already suck. They will lose we can't get some top prospects. We can still sell them off to a team that's in need of a first baseman like us. But I don't really see the point of selling him right now. And if they do, that's great. I think he would be a really, really solid guy to have on our team, considering how well he can hit and his commitment to improving on defense. They've said that he takes a lot of time in improving his craft at first base. But the reason I say Matt Olson's because, Bob Melvin came over. AJ Preller seems really interested in Matt Olson. That is an AJ Preller move. Like, going after the big stars, going after the big names. That's an AJ Preller move. But it just depends on if we're able to move Hosmer and maybe a couple other guys. I'd love to have Olson just because it's going to cost a lot, but that's also a potential 20 WAR infield, 20 plus. And, that could potentially be the best infield in baseball. But I really like the idea of adding Josh Bell, Luke Voigt as a DH, maybe.
Yeah, and the Luke Voigt one's definitely about DH. What were you going to say?
That was my exact thought about Voigt. I'm like, that's not a first baseman, that's a DH. So there's really two true options here. If you throw Luke Voigt at first base, you're going to get like a third of the season with him, and then he's going to get hurt, and then he's going to come back. He's going to get hurt again. Whereas the other two, you get more stability with, okay, these guys play most of the games. And Josh Bell, I think the only reason I like Josh Bell a little bit more is one, the switch hitting ability, especially with Petco. If you get a lot of righties, he's going to be hitting a lot of lefty. He's going to be hitting lefty a lot, and left field, right field's a little bit shorter. And there's that wall that he might be able to stretch out some doubles if it hits the wall kind of funny. So, and we also need another lefty bat in the lineup that actually can provide some power other than
definitely
Grisham and Kenworth.
Yeah. So got a lot of stuff here. A lot of good comments. I think one thing that we got to do is we got to make a video about who are the most likely guys for the Padres to get traded, because obviously Hosmer's one, and probably Campusano's too, but Pagan, I see who was it? Someone commented. Where is it? Oh, trade Profar and Pomeranz for minor leaguers. I mean, Profar could easily get moved. I mean, there's a lot of guys to free up money. I don't know if you could move Pond. I mean, that's a tough one. Maybe someone take him. Maybe it's just an easy way to save some money and add someone else. But there's a lot of guys, so we got to do that sometime, because I think that's a really interesting one, because they are going to make a lot of trades. I think Preller knows it's his last crack, so he unloads his entire farm except Abrams and gets Olsen and Reynolds. There's a chance. There's definitely a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And Preller the seat is getting warm. The seat is getting really warm for Preller. I think he's probably on the hot seat. I don't know what that means. Does that mean if they make the playoffs, he's fine? Probably. I'd expect yes. If you make the playoffs, he's probably going to be good. If they don't make the playoffs, though, it seems like he's probably gone. Because the thing is, like, the Padres ownership is spending a lot of money, more money than they've ever spent.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of the reason they're good right now. I don't know how much credit you can give Preller when you look at some of the moves that he's made. I mean, we've been going through the trades. He's been pretty horrible in terms of trades. If you take away the Fernando trade and the Cronenworth trade, it is really bad. Like, you probably gain like a couple impact bats and or like a couple impact players, and you probably lose like 20 plus. It's like really, really, really bad. So it seems like he is on his last crack. It's getting crazy. And I've always liked Preller, but dude, going through those trades made me feel a lot different. I don't know how you guys felt, but like, we've gone through them. It's been horrible. Every year it's like, oh wow, he had one good trade and like 5 bad ones. So
I don't really feel different. I didn't hold him to the highest regard in the first place. I think the only reason people hold him to high regard in the first place is because the trades that he makes, like, yes, they're big names, but people don't really look into the numbers. If you look into the numbers, he buys high on a lot of guys. Like, Blake Snell looked fantastic, but at first it looked like, damn, he bought high again. Yu Darvish, another one of those guys. I'm not the biggest. I love Yu Darvish. I think he's solid, but I don't know how much confidence I have in him going into this year. I think he's going to be better to start off the year, but is he going to be able to hold up for the whole season? Considering, you know, how easily he got injured pretty fast, like, and it wasn't anything to do with his arm or anything. It was his lower back, I believe. So I don't know. That's another thing, age. But I don't know. I'm not the biggest. This is Preller's last chance. Like, he gets maybe 1 or 2 more years. I hope I'm not the only one. I think Reynolds is cool, but I don't know. I'd rather have Olsen. I can only see him getting one of those guys. I hope I'm not the only one that doesn't really want Reynolds. But
I'm with
I
you
don't
there.
know. Yeah, I just don't really want him. I've seen his numbers; they're solid, but I'll pass.
he plays center, right?
Yeah.
Outfield, yeah. Mainly center, though, yes.
So, first things first, I'm just going to say this, even though you two are going to wildly disagree with me on this. Emilio Pagan bounce back season. I want to hear it. AJ Preller, man. If the thing is like, I want him to go for Josh Bell because it isn't the big name trade. If he goes for Matt Olson, it kind of just proves our point that he only goes after the giant names, and it hurts us more than not. Because the Will Myers trade is still hurting us, because Trey Turner has turned out to be the all-star that we all thought he could be. The Max Fried trade, there's so many guys that we got rid of that it hurts. The Colin Ray trade, where we could have got Luis Castillo, but we wanted Colin Ray back after some little bit of controversy. There's just some trades where Preller has completely whiffed on it. And Preller as a trade GM, absolutely horrible. Please stop trading. But Preller as finding talent is on another level. That man has an eye for talent. So if you're going to fire him from a GM role, but keep him like as director of scouts or something, because you need that guy's eye for talent. That's the only reason the Padres still have like a top 10 farm system despite dealing for all these big names.
Sorry, my computer is going crazy over here. I don't know what's going on. It's like loading and it's going so slow. I'm getting stuck. I can hear everything you guys are saying, but like my thing's moving. Okay, now we're good. Okay, so going through some of this stuff. I mean, I think you're right about Preller. I feel like it's just the trades are so frustrating, but as a scout, as the guys he's gone after, like the low-end guys that people don't really know, the international scouting, amazing. Absolutely amazing. As a scout, he is one of the best baseball scouts. Let's have someone at least kind of come in there as like an advisor and be like, hey, man, you probably shouldn't pull this trade. This is going to burn you and make you look so bad. And I think if you had someone doing that, I think it'd look a lot better. Maybe that guy's the GM. I don't know. But Emilio Pagan bounce back chase. Interesting. But we looked at the numbers. It's definitely possible. Like his time before San Diego and in San Diego, his baseball savant numbers are drastically different. And when he arrived in San Diego, they've gone progressively farther and farther down. And at the end of last season, we saw him at the lowest possible point. So any way you see it, it's probably going to be a bounce back. But I just think that there's guys that are worth like putting in the game in the bullpen more than him, even if he does have a bounce back. And that's why I think that he's going to get traded. And I think a lot of teams will see him as like a project that they can build up and kind of like, I don't know, get something out of. So I think that it still makes a lot of sense to trade him. I don't think you're wrong though. I think he'll have a bounce back if he's part of the Padres or if he's not part of the Padres. So, or I guess it kind of depends where he lands. But with Ruben Niebla, I have a lot more faith in him. I don't know what else you guys got.
Just
think.
go ahead. I was just going to bring up what Devin said about Castellanos, but go for it, Chase.
I was going to say Gil has the example of why AJ Preller is a bad trader. Remember when we came back on 7 runs between Dan Altavilla and Taylor Williams, and then
yes,
AJ
we
Preller
traded
was like,
for them.
wow, yes, we need to trade for them to enhance our bullpen. Who does that?
Yeah, I don't know, man. And we kind of, I mean, who do we give up? Ty France, Luis Torrens, Taylor Trammell. Like, dude, we give up so much. And Ty France is like quietly one of the, I wouldn't say, yeah, I wouldn't say one of the best first basemen, but he's probably like top 10, top 15, considering like he's also not making a lot of money. You know how much money you could have saved having him as your first baseman as opposed to Eric Hosmer? That's like night and day. Back to Nick Castellanos, we've been pretty vocal with our opposal to signing Nick Castellanos. We don't like the idea at all. I think it'd be horrible. I think that's a contract that you'll regret. Maybe not as much as Hosmer, but pretty damn close. Just because he's had one season of over 30 home runs. He's been an all-star once. Like, this is his first year where he's kind of shown this was the one year I can think of where he's shown like, okay, maybe you are worth over 20 million. You guys also got to remember he plays at the Little League American ballpark. That thing's tiny. I don't know how many home runs he hit there. I don't know what his home run total would look like if he didn't hit there. But yeah, I'd gladly pass on Nick Castellanos.
Dude, it's crazy to me that that the idea, because right away it might not look that bad. It might be like, oh look, this is the power bat that the Padres needed. But if they sign him to like 5 to 7 years and he's a DH making over $20 million, it's gonna and his power goes down, it's gonna look horrible. And I don't know why you wouldn't expect that to happen, right? Wouldn't you completely expect that to happen if you go and get that guy?
Mm-hmm.
So why are you going to sign a guy where 3 years into the deal, it looks like the same thing and you have the same issue? Is that what we're going to do? Just keep cycling through guys and just like, oh, this is a bad contract. We'll hang on to him for a while and it'll completely stagnate our growth and our ability to be a top-end team. And then we'll move a top prospect for him. And then we're just going to keep tossing these dudes like Trey Turner out the window Luis Campusano out the window if he's the one who goes with Haas. Like, who's the next guy? Is it going to be Victor Acosta when he's a monster? Is it going to be Susano when he's a monster? Like that, it just feels like it's inevitable if you make a move like that. I see everyone talking about Suzuki over Castellanos right here. 100%. And the big thing, that's why I put Suzuki at 2 when we were talking about our list. If you get him, then you're not going to go get Castellanos. Then you're not going to go get one of these big deals. And what he wants is 5 years from $50 to $60 million. I will gladly pay him $70 million instead of going and getting one of the other guys for him to be there for 5 years. Because at the very least, he's going to be an elite defensive right fielder, which does have a lot of value. And who's the Padres' backup center fielder? There's no one. Will Myers?
I think
that's
Profar,
terrifying.
technically.
Profar.
No, I think it's Profar.
That's an awful idea. We've seen Profar in the outfield, and I like Profar, but he's better as like a pinch hitter than anything, or like a into the lineup guy that's playing second base. Him in center field is not a good idea. I mean, we saw that last year. We saw him like miss a fly ball one time or a few times. But like that would be huge. Like also a depth outfielder. If Trent Grisham was to go hurt or Trent Grisham was to play really bad, you can move Suzuki to center field. That is such like an underrated aspect of adding Suzuki over Bryant and Castellanos. And I don't think anyone brings that up. I'm like all in on going and getting Suzuki. And I know there's a lot of people that think Castellanos is the most likely guy to go there. There's a lot of people that think Suzuki is the most likely guy to go to San Diego. So I hope we're right about Suzuki, man, because I think Gil, Suzuki, all in favor, say aye. Yeah, aye. I'm big on that, dude.
I see Ari Fangi brought up the lower back problem for you, Darvish. Yeah, it's concerning. It's definitely concerning because of his age. But I mean, yeah, I think he has a good chance to figure it out. I'm a little lower on him than probably most people are, but not because of his talent, just because of his age, his injuries. I mean, I went to you Darvish starts a couple times because I really had fun watching him.
That's the only thing about old age, man. It's like you see Kershaw. Kershaw will be really great, and then he gets that lower back injury, and he's gone for like 2 months. And he'll come back and make like 2 or 3 starts, and then he'll get his lower back injured again and miss like another month or 2. And I'm afraid that's what's exactly going to happen with you, Darvish, because, man, when pitching takes a toll on the back, it takes a toll on the arm, it takes a toll on a lot of things, especially when you're getting older like that. Your body doesn't keep up the same way that it does when it's like 5 years younger.
Absolutely.
And okay, I know we're talking about pitching, and pitching is a lot different in terms of the back injuries and stuff. But going back this real quick, another reason Suzuki over Castellanos, he's 25. Isn't Castellanos 30? Like, let's not go after these guys that have already hit the end of their prime. Let's get them before their prime starts, sign them for less, and then you like go after those kind of deals. Feels like the Padres don't do that. The only guy it's felt like they've done that is with Machado. Because Machado, it's like, oh, he is about to hit his prime, and we're going to sign him for a huge deal. I've seen people talking about Machado as a bad contract. That is insane to me. He has been one of the best big contracts in the sport over like the last 10 years. Like, and I know, and that's the thing. People say that about Harper too. Look at Harper.
Yeah,
he won MVP this year. Like, how are you going to say it's a bad contract when the dude's winning the MVP, or when the dude's in top 3 in MVP like in 2 consecutive years or whatever it was for Machado? I don't know. It's crazy.
Tell you guys what, the only reason the Phillies were in it was because of Bryce Harper and Zach Wheeler. But I mean, Bryce Harper kept them in there.
Yeah. All right, guys, we'll do a couple more questions and probably take off.
Yeah,
I hit it at the same time as you.
I want to bring that one up. Dude, I don't know if you guys saw it on Twitter. This Tommy Pham was doing something stupid. Like, he was at the gym and like he was holding these
was it a Joel Seedman workout? I bet you it's a Joel Seedman workout. I guarantee it.
I couldn't believe what I saw, dude. I honestly couldn't believe what I saw. But he was doing that, and then he had bands. And he was just kicking them repeatedly, and it was like a workout. Like, bro, I don't want you back.
Like, anyone who follows a Joel Seedman workout should immediately leave the Padres organization.
I couldn't. First off, yes, he's a bad clubhouse guy. I feel like I don't want to bring politics into it. I could care less about politics when it comes to baseball. But, Tommy Pham is just, you saw the argument with I don't know who it was, either Dickerson. I think it was Dickerson. But when him and Ha-Seong Kim collided, like he was all pissed for no reason.
Dude, he was yelling at Kim too.
Yeah, it's like that stuff happens in baseball. It's gonna happen.
Kim's like walking up the field concussed. He's like screaming at him.
And Kim continued to play after he got hurt. Like he picked up the ball and threw it, and Tommy Pham's just laying there like, this man really just hit me. I'm gonna go off on him right now while he's like clearly really injured.
Yep. He had a solid 2 months, and then bleh. The rest of it's bleh.
Maybe he comes. Do you think? I think there's a chance he comes back though.
I do too.
I pray to God not.
Oh, do you see this?
No.
Yeah, but it's probably doesn't have much value anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't. He definitely doesn't. I legit don't think he's worth I think he's worth $2 million to $5 million.
I wouldn't want him on the roster.
Exact same thing.
$2 million to $5 million. That's it.
But would you really want to pay him $5 million?
On the roster.
No, I don't want to pay him at all. I wouldn't want to pay him at all.
Yeah, so that's why.
Plus, he sucks at outfield.
Dude, that's the other thing.
Why would we sign Pham if we could just pay like let's say Pham legitimately gets $5 to $8 million? I'd much rather pay Seiya Suzuki an extra $10 million over Tommy Pham. Like I will pay Seiya Suzuki $15 million a year just so we don't have to play Tommy Pham.
Dude, that's why I think Suzuki's such a big thing for the Padres to go after.
For anyone, I mean, how many times did we have to see Tommy Pham ground out into a double play with runners on 2 outs or 1 out, sorry, or even go into inning-ending ground ball to the shortstop? I saw it way too many times. We've said it so much. If you want to be one of the best teams in baseball, you gotta put the ball in the air. You gotta be one of the top 10 teams in slugging, OPS, fly ball percentage. You got to be one of the teams that's on the bottom tier of ground ball percentage, and keeping around guys like Eric Hosmer and Tommy Pham definitely does not help you in that category.
I'm out Caratini and Frazier.
Yes, Caratini also. Well.
Like another thing with Pham is like even when he was hitting the ball in the air, it'd be like 10 feet short of the left field wall. Like you'd hit it and you're like, oh my God, that should be a home run. And then it's just like the left fielder's just standing there. You're like, isn't he going to go back a little further? And it's just like a weak fly ball to left field, even though it looks like he was smoked. Like Tommy Pham lost his power outside of like 2 months in the season. And then even then, after like those month and a half where he actually hit like double-digit home runs, he was back to grounding out the entire time.
Do you guys, okay, before we go, I have one more question. Do you guys think there's some player in the MLB, like a really good player, that the Padres might be going to make a move for that hasn't really been brought up? Because you hear Matt Olson, you hear Castellanos, Suzuki, but like, is there a guy that you think the Padres could just swing like a massive deal for? Because I think they could do something like that. The Blake Snell one wasn't expected at all. Neither was a Darvish one. And I know those don't look super good after last year, but like it was still a huge deal. Like it was still a big we're swinging for the fences.
Blake Snell is going to look really good this year. I think that deal is going to look fantastic this year. Give me a minute. Let me think.
I will always say Josh Harrison, just because he's a very underrated player in the league. He's not going to make a lot of money. He's a high average, high on base guy. He can run the bases pretty well. He may not provide you a lot of home runs, but he'll provide you with some gap-to-gap hitting. He can play all 3 outfield positions, which at this point, the Padres desperately need a left fielder and someone who can play center. Josh Harrison can do that. Josh Harrison can also play most of the infield positions. I was going to say Starling Marte, but he just made some money. Outside of those two,
that would have been a sick one.
Yeah, I was really hoping for Marte.
Cattell, if there's any chance that Diamondbacks are like, whatever, we suck, we're going into rebuild, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
That would be a lot.
Oh, yeah, but is it worth it? I think it's worth it.
It's definitely worth it.
It depends on who they ask for. Because what if they ask for like a guy like Abrams? Because Cattell Marte is that good of a player.
What if they gave up Robert Hassel?
Cool with that.
I don't think.
I was gonna say I think I'm cool with it too, man.
I'm fine with like if you give up like Hassel and Campusano just for Marte, I'll take it.
What if you gave up Hassel? Okay, what if that's the Haas trade? You give up like 2 elite prospects, Hosmer, and they just eat them, and they're like, whatever, we're gonna take it, or it's a 3-team deal, and someone else eats them, but like they get the prospects. That would be Ketel Marte, man. That would be a sweet addition.
Absolutely.
He's so good.
So you're bringing up guys that might be on the Padres' radar that we're not expecting. I'm just gonna go because I'm looking from top to bottom of all these divisions and seeing what teams might be willing to give guys up. I'm not the biggest fan of this. I think Cedric Mullins might be a guy that they could target. I think that's a sleeper. Let me think. Matt Olson isn't a sleeper. Luis Castillo or Sonny Gray might be another guy. That might be
they always
Castillo
like
just
Castillo.
because he had a worse year.
Yeah, so
and
I think,
you know that Preller loves Luis Castillo. You
Yeah,
could just tell guys that he likes.
Yeah, he's been after him before.
God, any other Ranger that we don't know of that had a somewhat good year, he's gonna go after.
Yeah,
Probably go get Gallo at the deadline.
Yeah. People brought up Brian Reynolds already. I guess he's not really a sleeper. But yeah, I think Luis Castillo, Cedric Mullins, and Sonny Gray are guys that I don't think we'll go after, but that I wouldn't be surprised if, we got reports, AJ Preller is going after this guy.
Yeah, because Preller sometimes just pulls stuff, crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I see Gil said Juan Soto. I don't think there's a chance that Juan Soto gets traded. I think he's basically like a untouchable. He is an untouchable player. I don't think there's a
Did you know the Padres were this close to signing Juan Soto as a prospect?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Preller's always money on international signings. Like he's always going after. Remember Ohtani too?
Mm-hmm.
They were one of the 3 finalists.
Mm-hmm.
Chris
that's
the whole thing
why
with Juan Soto though is that whoever his coach was told him to take the money from the Nationals. Like I think he was going to make like $1 million or something like that. It was like $1 million to 1.5, and his coach told him to take the offer because he didn't think any other of the teams were going to offer him more money. And then the next day, the Padres were going to offer him $2 million, but he had already signed with the Nationals.
That's tough.
I didn't know that. That's tragic. That's like so sad.
Yeah, that hurts.
Imagine you had Juan Soto and Fernando Tatis. Oh my God, that would have been.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you want Juan Soto, you got to be okay with giving up like Mackenzie Gore, Robert Hassel. Yeah, probably like Mackenzie Gore, Robert Hassel, Jackson Merrill, something crazy, dude. Because that's our Ted Williams.
That is my guy.
Has he been?
That is
he hasn't been signed yet, right? Or did they extend him?
They extended him last year.
They extended him.
Yeah.
But it's not that much money, dude. It's like $10 million a year. He's cheap.
No.
He's legit cheap.
That is my guy right there.
Someone brought up
Frankie
Bassett and Frankie Montas.
I feel like Voit is a very, very, very likely option for the Padres if the DH is implemented. I think he makes the most sense. You keep him for a year or 2. He's a DH. Then you have someone else like Onya or someone fill into that role. It wouldn't cost a ton.
Dude, that's a sick profile.
I kind of want to see Onya in that role first because I feel like Onya could hit 20+ home runs. It all depends on whether or not he's healthy at the beginning of the season.
There's another world where Ohtani and Seiya
don't remind me.
They were Ohtani and Soto and Fernando are Padres. That's just.
What's funny? There's probably a world where Trey Turner's playing second base and we have all those guys.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yelich? Ooh, I like the Yelich idea.
What's his contract though?
Fat.
Is it really?
I was gonna say, isn't it a fat contract?
I don't think they want to trade him though.
No.
But if they did, maybe.
So he signed a 9-year $215. So let's see what his yearly pay is. So from age 30 to age 37 is basically he will be making around $26 million a year until 2029 where he makes 20.
I just want to say something real quick that I was thinking about right now. Because I see this. How likely do you guys think it is that the Padres go and get Suzuki this offseason. So it have Suzuki and Darvish, two of the bigger Japanese players in all of MLB. And when Ohtani's a free agent, they go and they do everything in their possible power to go get Ohtani.
Let me look at this contract.
You look at the market, like for the Padres, that you would be taking over almost like the Japanese baseball, like watching the MLB market. That is a huge market. You would have like three massive players. Darvish has over 1 million followers on Twitter. Darvish is a like, I don't even know. Like he's one of the biggest players ever in Japan.
No, of course, yeah, definitely.
Ohtani's gonna be bigger.
Ohtani after this year will enter his 3rd year of arbitration. Then in 2024, he is an unrestricted free agent.
He shouldn't go back to the Angels. I hope he doesn't stay an Angel. Literally go to any other team, dude, because
he'll be 29 when he hits free agency again. Unless the Angels sign some massive contract with Ohtani this upcoming year.
Is this regarding Ohtani? Or is this regarding? Do you guys know? Because Ohtani's a little bit older. I just think Ohtani's different.
Ohtani will be 29 when he hits free agency, so I'm guessing it's about Ohtani.
Probably also like Castellanos and guys like that, but I don't mind.
That would be crazy, dude. That would be so.
Bro, Ohtani is just a DH, and bro, you throw Ohtani as a DH, and if he can't stay healthy, because by this time we'll know if he can't stay healthy being a starter, throw him as a closer. Throw him as a closer and a DH.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know about the Japanese market or the Korean, whatever it is, where these players come from, when these players come on, for example, Ha-Seong Kim, they would like over there. They normally don't. I don't think they normally televise American baseball games, but they would televise the Padres because of Ha-Seong Kim. Yeah, so I don't know if they do that for like Darvish, but yeah, they would do it for Ha-Seong Kim. I'm sure they do it for Shohei. I mean, why wouldn't they?
Okay. Ohtani's better than a 4 or 5, dude. If you take like 2 starts away, he had like a sub 2.5.
Dude, if you get Ohtani, he's your 1. If he continues at this rate.
Yeah, it's just that he got rocked a couple times.
It's a matter of staying healthy for him. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get Ohtani, he's your 1.
Yeah. Also, the guy over 30 would be Yelich, so I guess that's a fair point on Yelich.
Mm.
Like Yelich is definitely a risk, and I don't know how much I love that actually. Maybe if you move Haas and then Yelich deal,
and then you move
that might be worth
Yelich to first.
Yeah, but the Brewers are a good organization. They know
they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna trade Yelich.
They're better than that.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think we're gonna take off. Have a great rest of your weekend. Hopefully the Rams win because I would like to see the Niners play the Rams, and hopefully the Chiefs win because then I win a bunch of money on some parlays. So.
Yeah.
Let's root for those teams today. Chase, I know you're rocking with the Bills in your parlay, so.
What was I going to say? If any of you guys are Rams fans, I hope Brady wins. I like Brady. I don't know why. Patriots Brady is totally different from Tampa Brady, and he's like really fun now. So I think it'd be cool to see Brady go again. But for the Bills Chiefs, I don't really care. But yeah, have a good rest of your Sunday, guys.
Yeah. See you guys.